Buongiorno, good evening, welcome to the DONNYCHAINGANG, and we're heading for a first. We are heading for a stage of the Giro Rosa on the streets of Bologna, and this is a really unique course. It is the prologue time trial from the very first stage raced 11th of May in 2019, and we start off in Bologna. We climb up to the top of the climb and basically up to the Sanctuary de Madonna di San Luca, and that will take us up to the finish. But we then turn around and we dive all the way back down again. We go back up it, we dive back around it, and we dive back down it, and then we finish up at the top. It's a multi-lap, and for those of you who are confused, Zwift lists this as being an 8k stage because they only count the uphill bit. They don't count the bit where you go back down again. So we have what is 41k. It's 40k to the top on the third climb, 1k to warm down and to get that little run back in again. Really good course this. I've raced on this and absolutely love it. It's flat and then a big climb and then you dive back down again. It's actually really difficult in a group, but it's going to be very interesting to see how everybody gets on tonight. Think Box Hill-ish maybe, and you're not going to be far away. One man who's been on the race recon, that is Russ Downing, and I think we'll get straight in with Russ very quickly indeed, so long as we can actually get hold of him, which is easier said than done some days, he says, watching the tech play fun. So let's have a check and see if Russ is in the land of the living. He's got the tech fastened up and he's already on his Pinarello.
Hello.
Aha! Buongiorno, ciao!
Come stai?
Ah, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I can see you've got a nice shirt on, seeing as how we're gone to Italy.
Well, Italian style, Italian colours, of course, because it's a nice Giro colour. I couldn't find my Giro, my Pedalata di Giro top. I've no idea where that's gone, but there you go. I probably couldn't get in it these days.
I'm just actually being looked down on by my Giro jersey, so yeah, it's quite appropriate, really.
Excellent, and of course.
And a TT bike from Team Sky, so yeah, we've got it all going on here.
Exactly, and it is originally a TT course, but we're turning it into a group ride, so bit of a first here for the DONNYCHAINGANG.
Yeah, first time. Yeah, I've not actually ever ridden this circuit. I've done some recons on YouTube, listening to Matt Stevens and from the Zwift Classics and that. So, yeah. But I've just had a message from Ben Swift, and the clown that he is, he is actually doing it on Zwift on his TT bike. So
what a star! So no drafting.
He's actually riding it in his garage on his in real life TT bike.
Oh right, okay. Well, I can see the advantage of that, not having to support your body weight and just lean on the arms.
Exactly. So he just falls asleep on his stride bars and uses the power. So
sounds about right. Does that? That sounds very right, Russ. And just a quick question for you, Russ. If the group is all together when you come to the bottom of the third climb, are you going to go long again?
I don't think I've got it in me, but yeah, I'll have a bash. I like to either lead them out or put my face on the TV, say hello to family and friends and that, and then get out of there. So, but yeah,
excellent. That's what we want to see. And of course, you've got the Don't Poke the Bear T-shirts have arrived. I understand.
Well, they're here, but I haven't received them yet. Courtesy Elmore Clothing sent me some sneaky pictures early as he's moving out. So yeah, I should have them by the end of the week. So the guys who have ordered them, drop me a DM and get the payment rolling, and we'll send them out.
Excellent stuff. And as we're rolling into what I think is 2 minutes to go, less than 2 minutes to go, we better let you brief the gang of what we got coming up.
Yeah, we've got over 200 people who were crazier than I thought. Once a few times, so we're doing something right, Matt. And Ted just wrote 200 idiots, so he must be listening to the feed.
Well, that sounds about right. I'm not going to say idiots because I think this. I'm hoping this is going to be a brilliant course and it's going to ride well. But I know how this goes. If it rides well, it's your idea. If it rides badly, of course, it was my idea. So we'll see.
That's joint effort, mate.
Definitely. Right. Good luck, Russ. Enjoy.
Oh yeah, cheers for that. I'd rather be in your chair.
Mate, it's all ready to go, as is the espressos from Grand Tour Coffee. So don't you worry. I'm all set, ready to go.
All right, mate. Good to speak to you.
Take care. I'll see you soon. So great to hear from Russ, and let's show you what is coming up, because this is going to be a really interesting evening on the DONNYCHAINGANG. We are in Bologna in Italy. We are on what is the time trial lap, and it is the very first stage, 11th of May 2019, prologue stage of the Giro. We have Russ as our yellow beacon, our red beacon, Maddie Smith, regular Maddie Smith, the multi-time national champion, is going to be doing the sweeping. There's zero leading onto the course. We go straight onto it from the start pens, and we are going to hit 3 times up the climb. We go 3 times up the climb, so it's 3 laps, basically up to the top. We have 2 linking sections back down, so you go up, down, and up to finish. Everybody needs to remember that. Up, down, up and finish. Dead simple. Really, honest. It's dead simple. You'll know the climb like the back of your hand if you don't already. 690 metres of elevation. Let's show you what that looks like on the map as our riders just start to make their way out of the pens. We run from the city. We come out and through the gates. You go out from the Piazza Maggiore, out past the Basilica di San Petronio, past the Fountain of Neptune. We're going to head out through the gate, the western gate of the old medieval city, onto the climb up, which begins about 5.5k at the Arco de Meloncello with a sharp hairpin. You know, you're about halfway when you go under the stone arch, and a right-hand hairpin, and when you see the big inflatable, you're right up at the top of the line. What does that look like? What are we going up 3 times? What's the profile? This is the profile. And as you can see, with 1k to go to the finish, 1k to go to the finish, then you are going to see the most important bit. The bright red evil 16% section of climb that is going to tear it apart. It's going to be very interesting to see who is going to be on there. We're going to do one really steady lap of keeping everyone together. One tempo lap up there. And then at some point the go will go, and it's going to be flat out up the climb, and that is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So we are soon to be out there. Let's take a little bit of a look at what's happening out on the course. Remember that profile 3 times up here, and we're going out just to see Maddie Smith, our red beacon, just working away out along the course. Lots of people just getting themselves sorted out behind Maddie, and remember, of course, we're only going to see what are going to be 100 riders, the 100 riders nearest to you. So remember, guys, 3 times up the climb is the key information you need to know. Our riders are out on the course, and let's get out and with them. As you can see, the city are playing host to this route, and the top right hand corner of the map, if we open it right up now, it gives us a good indication of where we are going to be heading and what that climb's like. Nice and flat to kick off with as we ride in with Maddie Smith at the moment, just keeping an eye on the group at the back. We do have Ben Swift with us, as Russ has already said. I think we've got going to have Carl Crutchlow. I suspect we've got Mark Thwaites with us, and of course the one and only Bear, Russ Downing. So here on the DONNYCHAINGANG, live on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel, let's head out and catch up with what's going on. So here with our red beacon, Maddie Smith. Maddie is out on course for Bolsover and District Cycling Club. Good and interesting to see Maddie's got the lightweight bike up and running. Looks like Mr. Radcliffe is pretty close. Catley just joining Maddie at the moment. So let's jump on the drone cam. Let's zoom out. Let's take a little bit of a look at where everybody is. Remember, guys, we need to keep it blobbed together as long as possible. We're looking to do one really easy climb up. Maddie, Mel Blackford, Judge Radcliffe, looks like Catley and the Cannonball are all working their way up. Genthard also on his way in there. Looks like Pritchard rolling back at the back. Let's jump in with Ben Swift whilst we get the chance and to keep an eye on what Swifty is riding today. So Ben Swift, of course, in his GB kit, the National Champs jersey, riding in the Ineos, out on circuit. So here we go. Ben Swift riding up. Remember, guys, stay behind the yellow beacon. If Ben Swift, a man who has absolutely nothing to prove, can do it, then you can too. Riding that nice Team Ineos dogma as Swifty makes his way through the group here. He's going to be heading up towards the beacon. So jumping in, good to see Andy Hawes out on the chain gang as well. Looks like the team and riding well. Mr. Booth is with us. Looks like Forrester's in here. Gibbons is in here. Rich Crawley's in as well. Sonia Inslee in this group. Looks like Llewellyn in here as well. Shenfield, Mike Salcode. Craig Herring's in here. Ian Brooks in here. Andy Fraser's in the group. Scott Thwaites just on the left-hand side, just alongside there in the Appleton Phoenix kit. So Thwaites is with us as well. Good to see Josh Edmondson in the gang as riding alongside Josh in one of the Japanese rides. In fact, on Monday on Zwift, as Ben now rolls up to the bear to the yellow beacon. Remember, guys, aim is to keep the power down and keep it all nice and close together. We're going to jump across from Ben. And let's have a little bit of a look at some of our other riders, some of our more regulars. And it looks like Annie Simpson is in here, the OTE guru in here. Once again, the boss at OTE just doing the business. Great to see Annie back on the chain gang. So Annie riding nice as well, and again riding around here. Altaf Hussein is here. Altaf, of course, doesn't actually weigh 45 kilos in real life. I'm waiting for the picture of the scales, mate, to prove your weight when you get there. Looks like Taylor's in here. Looks like in Davenport in the gang. Jacko's in here. Dan Ladle's back in as well. So Mr. K. Dawson, Kev Dawson in the group. Looks like Joel Turnbull's in. Is it going to be Turnbull's day? Turnbull, of course, one of our regulars. And definitely going to be a contender on those really steep slopes later on. As we start heading out, we're going to be back out and across the river very shortly. Let's have a little look. As I've just seen Stefano Borelli of Nonnas on the course as well. So remember, guys, keep it together. This is a real voyage into the unknown. There's very few events that have been multi-lap on this course. There's been even fewer events that have been multi-lap as a group and riding now. Let's jump in with Cal Crutchlow. Cal Crutchlow, of course, a winner of the Donny Chain Gang as well. So Cal is here. Looks like Cal just freewheeling his way around. 1 rev per minute from Cal. That's in complete contrast to the motorbike engine. And Cal Crutchlow, a very formidable rider on Zwift. So we are going to be heading out. Remember, we hit the climb about 5.3. And remember, we start on the left-hand hairpin. You know you're onto the climb proper. On the left hairpin, when you're on the right hairpin, that's when you're halfway up, on your way up towards the top. So as Cal makes his way along here, we're going to keep an eye out on some of our regulars. It's like Marcus here. It looks like... indeed, it is Stefano Borelli. Let's jump in with the man from Nonnas down in Sheffield. So here we go. Stefano riding nice and smooth. Not on a Pinarello, so disappointing there. And on what could be a good course for the Pinarello is Stefano going along. Looks Becca likes bikes. Becky in here as well. We're just going to jump back across to Muddy Smith Ferry shortly indeed. So here we go. Good to see that Altaf is really using his real weight. It's not as good as my real weight, it has to be said, but it could be considered close. He was getting some serious stick from the gang earlier on in the week on the Facebook page. And if you've not been on the Facebook page, guys, make sure you go on there. Banter, support, tech advice, you name it, everything from life coaching all the way around. Now, remember, guys, aim is to stay by the beacon. These are the nearest 100 riders to Mr. Borelli. That is quite a bunch up to the front. And, of course, the beacon, the yellow beacon, just sitting at the back of this group. There's another 100 riders behind. And you're going to be on to this right-hand hairpin very shortly. Here we go. It's going to kick in. We're at 5.8. We're now on to 4% here. So it's going to start to get interesting. Just jumping in with Carl Kaplinski here. Carl, one of our regular riders on the chain gang. So here we go. We're on to the climb at 5%. And as you can see, the groups are well strung out at the moment. Looks like Victoria Chivari just moving alongside. So Vic with a change of kit once again. And I suspect gone for a, yeah. And Wenger with lightweight aero wheels on there. So this is a course that has a lot of climbing on there, but it's got even more flat on there. So we're on the 10% section here, and just watching the fat cyclist, feeling the effects, the pace just dropping down here. And as we go alongside, diving through the buildings with the wonders of our fantastic drone here, I'm going to just move our way up into the air and get a view. Let's have a look from the helicopter at the moment. You can see the yellow beacon. Sat in this group, 1 or 2 people doing some proper zigzagging on the way up this climb. So just in with Vic at the moment, kicking out 3 watts per 10 just to stay in with the group. Looks like Ian Taylor in and around the same area. So Ian is our man behind the 1080 Oakley August, and good to see Ian riding nice and smoothly in with the group here. The yellow beacon just behind. Let's take a little bit of a zoom out. Hope everybody's behaving themselves and holding it together as we drop across to the helicopter. You see a few people in front here. This is all going to be about keeping it smooth, keeping it together to the top of the climb. This is climb number 1. So just rolling out. And as you can see, the red beacon not too far behind on this big climb up on the run out from the medieval city here, and heading up on to this climb. The guys are working hard, and it looks like that red beacon holding the group nicely together. Everyone okay? As the call from Russ. I'm not so sure that's going to be answered in things that can be repeated on the chain gang tonight, because it is going to be a real big climb up for everybody. Let's jump in with the bear. Not said hello to Russ yet. Looks like Russ just taking a little bit of a peek out of the side there. So Russ in the green there, the Downing Cycling green kit. Let's shoot through the foliage, dodge the branches. Here we go, Russ riding nice and smoothly. So Russ on his way up. Remember, guys, the aim is to stay by the beacon. So need some pace knocking off the front, please, guys. If you're watching live, if you've got it on live on sound, please, guys, make sure you knock the pace off a little bit. You see Jimmy Allen is here. Jimmy, of course, the Stellaton Saturday DCG spin-off rides. Courtesy of James Allen. The Stellaton have been interesting. They've had some flat ones, mostly hilly, and very much in the spirit of the chain gang, holding everybody together before it goes. Remember, the aim here is to blob. You've got to save your energy. There is no point in going mad now. You have 3 ascents of this climb to do, guys. So the yellow beacon shining down on Russ, the red beacon on Maddie Smith here. Our riders steadily making the way up this climb here in Italy, in Bologna, on the prologue course from the 2019 Giro. So the finish will be on the third time up this ascent. Now, for those of you wondering whose bright idea this was, it was somebody not all that far from me. In fact, it was me, I have to admit to that. I have wanted to come and do this one with the gang for a while. Not just because I get to watch, but also because I think it's a really good course. It's been really interesting to ride it, and I think we're going to find plenty of riders struggling because we've got 3, so pacing is going to be critical. It's going to make our riders think about the bikes as well. I always love courses that make people think a little bit. Absolutely critical. Russ has decided we're going to go for 3 climbs. I was going for 2. We will see if there's anything left of anybody after the second one. I'm not so sure. Good to see Alan Parsons is in here as well. Looks like Rob Carling is in here. Let's take a little look at Rob. Rob climbing in the camo, in the orange, brown and blue camo kit. No, we're not nearly there yet. Remember, guys, you need to be holding it together. In with Alan Parsons. This is Alan on his way up the climb in the green. Looks like Liam Calloway comfortably sitting in with the group. Joel Davis in here. Mr. Licence in this group as well. We're going to be heading across and down. Looks like the beard on the bike is back. Here he is. Got to get the shot in. Looking smooth, just sitting just in front of our beacons there. I think Carl Johnson in with this group. Looks like Ryan Taylor's in here. Phil Sanderson's in here. Just drop in with Maddie. I'm going to have a little look. I think John Smith just rolling off the back of the group, and I think John's still on his road to recovery. So looking good. Looks like all those scars have healed up on your avatar at least. I'm hoping they're doing the same in real life. Just in front is going to be Neil Bisbee here. So Neil, our next rider up at the back. Then it's going to be our beacon. This is Maddie Smith. Then it's going to be Bones, Phil Sanderson here. So Sanderson on the climb. Then it's going to be Taylor. So here we go. And good words by Jonathan Sims. Don't feed the snake, mob the blob. Make sure you sit on the yellow beacon. Basically squish Russ, all pile on the bear. You remember when you were kids in the playground? It's all pile on. The aim is to pile on the bear, make his life a very difficult indeed. Now, this is our halfway point on this climb coming up. We're just in with Sean Farron here, heading alongside Adam Wilkinson. So let's get a view from the rider. In with Sean Farron coming in underneath the beacon here. Going to take this little turn, this hairpin section. This is halfway. We've got to see how many we can keep together on this group twice up the climb. It's a big, big ask. So Farron just moving in front of Alec Taylor. So I think Aki's just up the road. Sharaz Rashid just up the road as well. Keith Richardson up the road. And on these slopes, which are absolutely brutal, you can see the riders starting to stretch out here. It's a 10% section. And remember, we do have a 16% on this climb as well. Just seeing Andy Hawes up in front as well. And we're going to just take a little bit of a spin back round from this group. Let's have a little look. You just see our beacon climbing well here. Plenty of people in a very low gear, pedaling good revs. There's 1 or 2 people in very big gears, pushing some very low revs on the way up here, basically doing a weight training section as we hit this 16% section of the hill. Let's jump in. Sorry, Cannonball. It's going to be your bad day, I think, because we're going to focus in on you. You see, out of the saddle here, and the Cannonball out of the saddle, kicking down hard on a alley, I think. There, the one of the lighter bikes, and looks like Stefano Borelli just dropping off the pace. I think a tech drop out there as the Cannonball moves up alongside a beard on a bike. There's plenty of people zigzagging the way out and around on this climb. It is incredibly steep. So let's jump back out from the Cannonball. And let's take a little bit of a look. The gaps have definitely started to open at the backs of this group now as we go on to this really brutal section. 16%. It is starting to split it apart, and this is where the front of the group is going to have to be really, really smart. Back right off the pace, guys, so that the group gets back together again. Remember, if the group's not together, you're not going to get the go, go, go from Russ. Going to go diving in because I think we have the one and only legend from the DONNYCHAINGANG for real. A certain Wayne Randall is in the course here. So remember, guys, when you get up to the front, you need to be backing off that pace. It is Wayne Randall in the group here. Randall, of course, notorious for absolutely annihilating everybody out on the Chaingang for real. Now we're in and riding the virtual Chaingang. Good to see you back on here. It's like Mr. Finney in this group. Craig Sellen is in here as well. Sellen working hard. So let's have a little look. Craig Sellen in the group. Anybody who's in front of the beacon, guys, you need to back the pace off. If you're in front of the yellow beacon, guys, back the pace off, particularly when you get to the top of the climb. You need to be easing it right back. So there is some debate whether it's the Wayne Randall or it's not. It certainly looks like the Wayne Randall. He's got the right kind of kit on there. I won't tell you what Russ actually said, but you never know. We shall see if he gets to the end of it. He's certainly got the right kit. Looks like he's not giving the monkeys. Basically annihilated everybody. So on his way up here, let's have a little bit of a look at Andy Hawes in this group here. It's a little bit of an easing of the gradient, just hopefully going to get everybody together. Let's have a little bit of a look. So Andy rolling around here, sitting at 3.3. Nice revs here from Andy Hawes. 93 revs per minute. Horsey looking smooth. We know he's lost lots of weight during the course of lockdown. He's a shadow of his former self. Rumours that he's had to buy a whole new wardrobe and get sponsored by ASOS because he's lost that much weight that you can fit 2 legs into one of his old legs of his shorts. Definitely true. And as you can see, we're coming up towards the top now. So if you're going up towards the top, guys, we will see you on the way down. If you are hammering it, it's really obvious. One of the big advantages of this course, we will be able to see who is nailing it over the top. It's not the Wayne Randall, it's the Wayne Randall's body double. So not the Wayne Randall, but Wayne Randall's body double is with us. Who is not the same Wayne Randall. You should have just left it, mate. That was just fame and infamy instantly. So seeing riders already on the way down, this is where we get to see just who has gone through. Because to give you an indication, you are somewhere in the region of a minute and a half in front of the yellow beacon. Which means we can name and shame really easy. Bad news is you ain't going to get any airtime. Oh, good to see a number of riders just putting the brakes on when they get over the top to let everybody catch up. Thanks very much, guys. It is a very quick turnaround once you get through the beacon. If you're on your way up, don't worry. You're soon going to see the beacon whip round and start to head its way back down. Here he goes. It's a proper old school time trial turn, which is just missing the code in the road. As Andy Horst does a nice turn round. This is where we need to get the group regrouped and back on again. And whilst we're on this descent back down again, let's take a look from Andy's point of view. On board with Andy Hawes at the moment. And this is from Andy's Oakleys that he got from 1080. Looking down the course as he's on the descent. Looks like Mr. Brooks has got the power up to catch, which is a feather, as we go past Maddie Smith on the way up the red beacon on the way up the hill. Now this is all about getting the group back together as they come back down the slope here. So critical to get it nailed together. I suspect we're going to see Russ going to the very front of the group and giving a hard time to a large number of riders. So here we go, we're on our way in. We're going to come in, whipping in to the hairpins very, very quickly indeed. So on board with Andy at the moment. So let's chuck Andy's avatar in here in front of us. Here we go. So following Andy through these hairpins. Absolutely whipping away round and looking super smooth on his way round. He's got McDermott coming down. Looks like Joe Davis knows exactly what to do. If we take a look at Davis, Davis is aware of the wonderful properties. If you're doing more than 58 kph and you stop pedalling and the slope is greater than 3%, you will come down in the aero tuck position. That's exactly what he's doing. Rich Dobson, 100 kph. Good man. There should be some big badges coming. Remember, guys, you get badges when you break speed limits as well, and you're going to get that on the way down. Now here we go, round the corner they go. You can see our camera absolutely having to nail it on the way round. Let's jump out of Mr. Davis. He's going to drop under the speed limit now, so he needs to get pedaling. He's going to lose the momentum. He's just about rolling in. So let's take a little bit of a roll up and down the road, and let's find first of all the bear, who should be somewhere up in front. So just going to take a little bit of pictures for evidence and wonders of having the advantage of being able to work on our way round. Just take a quick screenshot of all those riders in front of the bear. You may just about hear the camera snap go. So this is where the groups need to pull themselves together. And we are going to try and find Russ. Somewhere. Out on the course, Russ. Where are you? Looks like he's disappeared for the moment. I think we might be jumping in with Ben Swift instead for the moment. So let's jump in with Ben. Ben on the course. He's behind us. He's got some catching up to do here. Everybody just pushing on this descent down. Remember, we're going to be going back in towards the square. Remember, guys, we are aiming on getting the group back together again. So let's just take a little bit of a run up the road until we find Russ. Up with Mr. Grimshaw. Looks like Tom Knight in this group. Looks like Mr. Beagley's in here, just making his way onto the group with Russ. Looks like Burke is in here as well. Mr. Pritchard is in as well. Danger from Chefrek is in here. And lo and behold, here be a Russ. And it looks like a few people doing the smart thing and waiting for us. Remember, guys, don't chase the front. This is the front of where you want to be, the yellow beacon. If you keep pushing on, chasing the Muppets who decided to go clear at the front, you know, the ones that, like, when they ride down the road and you've got a puncture, just ride past and ignore you, or like they did with Michael Hutchinson today. So you sat on the floor and go all the way around you and just keep on going. If you chase these Muppets, then you will basically drag the thing apart. So you need to get the group back together again first, guys. So please note the pace off on the front, and let's get the group back together again. So Hemstock sat nicely in here, riding in behind us. Mr. Pillinger looking good. Just keeping a little bit of a check here. Looks like Gail Phillips in this group as well. Looks like Matlock's in here. Let's take a little bit of a check. So Matlock's sat in here. Nick Dorsey rolling round the bear as well. And looks like Matlock just working to keep those gaps closed down. Remember, there is plenty of people in behind Russ. Let's take a little bit of a look back from where Russ is. And as you can see, plenty of people starting to come on to the back of the group here. We're going to drop across. Let's jump back whilst we're on the way back through and take a look. So Maddie Smith is on her way down. She's going to take the right hand turn over the railway lines. She's got John Smith there, not too far behind yet. John Smith not too far behind. The Cannonball on his way with her. So Cannonball and Maddie Smith there, then Sanderson and Mr. Borelli. Looks like Taylor and Wilkinson are together. Just up the road is Bolts. Bolts has company there as well. We've got Bisbee in with him. Then we've got Brian Taylor with a beard on a bike with Rashid in there, and Rob Carling just up in front. Then it's going to be licensed about 20 seconds up. It's going to be Inslee's group here. They're chasing hard. Looks like Dan Smith in this group. Mark Swift just up the road as well. Alan Parsons about 30 seconds up the road. And this is another big group here. And we're just going to try and take a little bit of a look up to see if we can see the beacon in the distance. Still going to be some distance. Let's jump in with Mr. Garfoot at the moment. So as we come back in, you're going to see what these gaps are. So the front needs to knock the pace back off again. If Mr. Swift, if Ben Swift, the national road champion, can sit in here, and you can see where that beacon is. The beacon is well in the distance here. So if the national champ can sit in, and shepherd riders, if you're so Billy Big Balls and so far off the front that you're dragging it apart, well done. Feel free to come and see me anytime and tell me exactly why you thought you were so good in ripping the chain gang apart, and I'll explain it to all the pro riders who actually do have them. So looks like Mr. Dickinson and Donahue in there, jumping in and rolling along nicely just in front of Ben here. That group working hard just to try and pull the yellow beacon back. If we take a look up the road, there are about 6 groups in front of this one. There are some groups behind as well. Maddie Smith 326 down at the moment. Swifty doing a great job in as well. So let's have a little bit of a look. So looks like Miss Spence just in the group in the middle. He's got Drummond about 7 seconds up. Richardson just up the road chasing on. Looks like the Barnsley Barrel onto the cobbles. Just taking a little look. This looks like the back of the bunch. It's George Cooper. So Cooper in with the main group here. Just making contact once again, which means we can drop back a little bit. Looks like the Barnsley Barrel just coming into the group. So we'll drop back once more, and Maddie just out on the cusp. I think it's just waiting for the Cannonball and Rich Shade here. John Smith, they're going to form a group, I think about 33 seconds back, so Maddie's going to soon be picking those up. Phil Bones just in front, Wilkinson up the road. Mr. Borelli has company up here. So Mr. Borelli riding strong. He's got Wilkinson and Taylor for company here. So this is Borelli. Let's jump in with Wilkinson. Wilkinson looking smooth. And I think they're going to find there's another few riders just coming towards them. This is going to make a nice group of 6 riders that can work together. Remember, it's a fair gap up. If you look at the top of the map, you'll see all the groups between our red beacon and the yellow. So this next group just starting to come back together again now. The next man up the road, I think, is going to be potentially a bit on a bikes group here. He's got Darren Topless in. You can see Darren riding. Darren, a regular rider out of Sherwood Pines, part of the Sherwood Pines gang, and nice and smoothly going. Just being closed down here by Rob Carling, I think, is the rider just coming on to the back. Now let's take a little bit of a look just up in front. We're going to jump in with Mark Swift here. So this is the group up on to the cobbles, still heading back towards the start. They've got some riders just in front. I think this is going to be Morris Tupper and Wilkinson, who are going to be seeing them very shortly indeed. So here we go, another group. It's going to become a group of 6. I suspect that it's going to be about 36 seconds to this group here. This is another big group. And just watching the riders coming in the opposite direction as they come turning around the turn. Guys, if you've turned back already, you need to be heading back towards the yellow beacon, guys. So just in with the riders around Russ here. So this is our bear at the moment. So Russ ticking this group along. Plenty of groups behind, slowly making the way up and on. And remember, don't chase the groups in front, guys, because all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire. Don't feed the snake, as a wise man once said. So selling in with this group, looks like Ian from the Stellarton in here. Cal Crutchlow in and riding smoothly with Russ here. Looks like Cal, you can pick him out. He's the one who's freewheeling on his way down here. Looks like Mel Blackford in this group as well. So Mel in here riding with the Russ down in right. Looks like Mr. Thwaites is in here as well. Liam Calloway is in here. Slatter in this group as well. Ellis is in here. Looks like Booth is in. Thwaites, he definitely knows what he's doing. Good to see. I think this is going to be Joe Jarvis in with the group here. So nice riding by Joe in with James Allen there alongside James Allen. Looking good. Watson in here, Caldwell in here. Looks like Nick Dorsey's in this group. Good to see Nick riding nice and smoothly. Mr. Oxenham, another of our regulars, sat in here. Mick Hanley in this group. Mick's got to be loving all that climbing, haven't you, Mick? As if you didn't do enough when you did your Everesting ascent. Carl Kapinski in with the group here. Looks like Catley in the group as well. Tom Knight, of course, in here. Tom's going to be in the red kit. So Knight looking smooth. On his way, just rolling around the side of the bear there. And this group out on the road now. The red beacon is heading in the opposite direction at the moment, still heading into the turn. As we keep our eyes on the riders out on course. Mr. Knight sat in the group with Russ at the moment. We're going to just take a little bit of a check back to our red beacon. Make sure everybody's rolling along nice and smoothly. So let's jump in with Maddie, national mountain bike champ, national cross champ, and all-round supporter of cycling, as well as a superb cyclist as well. Maddie Sanderson in shade in here. Looks like John Smith just behind it as well. You see that group coming in the opposite directions. These are the groups that are chasing the leaders on the road now. So just in front, Rashid is coming the opposite direction. So we're just going to watch the times going out, and we'll get a good indication of where those riders are out on the course. So Maddie on her way up towards the turn here, and these riders are looking smooth on the way up here. So Phil Bone Sanderson in the group here. Only going to be a few more riders sandwiched between them and the turn at the moment. So it looks like Stefano Borelli coming in the opposite direction. Looks like Taylor and Bolt are heading back towards Maddie Smith. They're going to see Smith coming in the opposite direction here. So this is that big group with Stefano Borelli, Andy Taylor in here. Looks like Wilkinson's in here as well. Let's just check it is Andy Taylor. There's a lot of Taylors in the group. It's Alec Taylor. My apologies, Alec. So Alec in here, Stefano Borelli in here, Mr. Bisbee and Adam in the group as well. Let's take a little bit of a look just up the road. So it looks to me like Rob Carlin just in front. He could see that group coming back towards him pretty quickly indeed. And at the moment, just on a little bit of a lonely ride. You can just see there's nobody in sight behind at the minute. And the next rider in front is going to be about 18 seconds up the road. It's going to be a bit on the bike. So these riders need to get themselves together and pick a group, try and pull the group back in here. So it looks like Kuzak in here, License and Ferron. Nice group of 3 riders here on the way in, of 3 very different riders, very different bikes as well. We've got basic Zwift bike for Kuzak. We've got a Zwift bike with aero wheels in there for License, and I think Ferron is on the front now on the Canyon Aero Road with the zips on as well. Now in front of them is Rashid, and then it's going to be the Morris and Hayward groups. This is a nice pack here. Looks like it's going to be Darth Vader and Mr. Wilkinson himself. Is the force strong in him today? That is the question. So Gary Morris here, sitting very, very close to those wheels, not letting John Wilkinson Vader disappear up the road. Looks like Mark Swift is in here. It's also going to be Colin Bell, Beefy from Cycleways, is in this group. So Colin just taking a very unrefreshing drink there. Clearly wasn't OTE in there, a lot more substance to an OTE drink. So they make their way up. Looks like Sonia riding and well in this group as well. It's a nice group here at the moment of 9 riders. Hayward in this group, sitting smoothly. All of them rolling through now. In front, Denton is sitting on the group here. He's got Vin Donahue in here. He's got Alan Parsons for company as well. Coleman is in here. And Denton all looking good in this group. It's a nice smooth moving group here. Williams just rolling off the front here, and very fast moving. They are going to see riders pretty quickly. Brown in front is going to see them coming up behind. There they are. They're chasing well here. So Brown is smart here. He's going to let them jump on and work with that pack that is going to be heading in. And then we're going to have a little look at Drummond in front now. And these riders are working well. Look at that group though coming behind here. So if we spin this around, these groups, if they come back together again, they've got a little bit of time left to do so. They're going to get themselves on the way around. So looking smooth there. Let's see if they can get themselves back together. Just keep an eye on them as they go over the bridge. Heading back out and heading out towards that climb. 3 riders in front, 2 together here, and a big group. We've got about 12 riders on the way back towards them. Just up the road is Frass, along with Langmead, and Sir Rodney is back in the wheels as well. Sir Rodney's going to be the one with a very distinguished beard in amongst these. He is indeed. Now let's take just a little bit of a jump up the road. Now this is going to be Abbott, Spence, I think Mike Salkeld's in this group as well. So this is Abbott, then it's going to be Salkeld, if the Mohican, the Grey Mohican there in the middle. So Salkeld there with Grey Mohican, then it's Spence and Dickinson as well. Nice group of 4 riders behind them. It's about 20 seconds back to Sir Rodney, but in front, this is the group which contains Ben Swift, or what's left of it. You've got McCall here, glued to the correct wheel. That is for sure, because he is glued to the wheel of the one and only Ben Swift. So Ben here with him on to the back. Then it's going to be Mr. James. And then in front it looks like O'Lee's, Taylor on the climb, Catley's on the climb now, Whitlock's on the climb. Let's work our way up here. Honey's group here just being distanced a little bit now. Let's watch them through this bend here as they come in. It is a steep hairpin turn up in the 11% mark as you come around the turn there into 10%, and a max of 3.5 coming from the Bear. The riders here going to try and push onto the back of the bunch, and they could well come in a touch here. Catley, Whitlock, Taylor not too far off the pace. Let's have a little bit of a look in with Kev at the moment. So Kev looking smooth, nice jersey mate, looking very, very comfortable on the way up there. So just in with Kev, we'll jump in with Gil next, the next rider on that climb out the saddle. 37 revs per minute, mate, blooming heck, that's almost 1 every 2 seconds. That is pretty good. Get those revs up, buddy. Put it in a lower gear. It's a long way to the top of the hill, especially when you've got gradients of 13 to 16%. Let's have a look at Love It, Love It. Weaving away round here, just nice revs though, 93 revs per minute. McLeod 49 revs per minute. How's Whitlock doing? Whitlock at 88 revs per minute here. Vic Chafaria, that's Vic doing. Are you suffering yet, Vic? I'm sure you are. What are those revs doing? It's not a weight session. 38 revs per minute. You should have legs like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know. Anyone who knows Vic knows that her legs are definitely not like Arnold Schwarzenegger. All that swimming, that's a very low cadence. I think you need a lower gear, kid, that's for sure. 165 beats per minute, Vic, on this climb, 200 watts. Looks like Trevor Crean not too far in front. Flanders Fraser in with this group. Interesting to see, we've got a few different names sitting in with the groups and in with the main group, because it's a different style of course here. Looks like Tristan from Nesbitt's up here. Creases in here. Stamper in here as well. Let's jump in with Stamper. Stamper looking smooth out of the saddle there, ticking along 75 revs per minute at the moment. Crehan just coming alongside and passing there. Knights in here, looks like Jacko sitting nice and smoothly, 82 revs per minute for Jacko on this bigger climb here. Let's have a little bit of a move up. Nick Dorsey's in here. Now, Nick isn't going to be the smallest of avatars, it has to be said. In fact, Nick and I share a number of similarities. His speed on the bike isn't one, because he's damn sight faster than I ever was. However, Nick Dorsey here looking good and making his way up on this climb. Still sitting in with this group. Russ holding the group together well at the moment. Let's see how much longer that's going to happen. There are riders scattered all over the climb. That's what happens on a Tuesday. It is definitely a tougher day on the Tuesday in terms of climbing than it is on Thursday. And if you haven't seen it, we've got more fun on Thursday. Another mad course, because we're going to exchange the TT course here for a crit course out on the Bell Lap. So we're exchanging the TT lap for the Bell Lap. So we go into Crit City, and we are going to be having a very short, fast lap. Let's see if anybody decides to take laps out. People are going to be jumping in and out. Bad news for Mr. Rubas there. He's got his chains come off. He's got stuck between the flywheel and the cassette. Sack the mechanic quick. Now let's take a little bit of a look. It looks like Edmonds just riding along nice and smooth. So let's just jump in with the group. Mr. Rubas kicking back in. It looks like Ben Swift making his way through the group. Let's jump in with Swifty here. So taking a watch as Ben Swift in that jersey makes his way up through the group here. Ben, very, very comfortable, I'm sure, sitting at 5.3 watts per kilo, just getting himself back from the back of the group. He's been back helping riders back in again. This is what to do if you're strong, kids. You ride out the back, you work your way up through the group when you've done the work at the back, and it's not going to be long before we see Ben make his way in. We've just gone around the 18% section. Yeah, we didn't tell you about that bit at the start deliberately, but we can't help but tell you about it now. And he's on his way back. Here he comes up towards Russ, and it looks like he's just backing the pace off a little bit on this 15% section, but doing a fantastic job at the back, keeping an eye on those riders behind. So let's take a look up the road from Ben. And you can see nicely sitting in this group. And they're on another 16% section. We're going to try and cut across to give you an indication of just how steep this is. As you can see, sloping across your screen at 16%. The guy's nicely on the way up. Looks like Steve James in the group. Good to see you, Steve. Mr. James from Hope Factory Racing. I know Steve a very long time and always great rider. Loads of style out on a bike. On and off a road, and looking good on his way through, just going past Proven. Now Scott Thwaites just about to be passed here by Ben Swift, and we're going to just jump up in the air now. Thwaites is pretty much alongside, and he's going to be there in the Alpecin Phoenix jersey. Let's just drop across to Scott. So Scott at the moment, heart rate 168. Ben Swift's heart rate 181. Clearly been working just a little bit harder than Scott on the way through. Just going to jump up with a couple of other riders. Let's have a look at Carl Crutchlow. 0 heart rate, 1 rep per minute. He's kicking out 275 watts. Let's see if we can pick on Phil or Mr. Crawley. Phil okay. Phil's one of our regulars. And Phil kicking out 365. Ryan Williams sat in this group. And again, he knows the score. Sat in with the riders. Good to see Ryan riding well. Jamie Harper, quite agree with you. Scales are available on mail order still, and plenty of other shops. They do count as essentials. They're not got a moratorium on them, no matter where you are. Always handy to have. Now, lots of riders are sitting comfortably in here. Some riders are really struggling, and looks to me like Becca's in here. And we're just going to work our way up towards the front of the group, and let's see where Russ is. So Russ at the moment rolling along, and we're just going to take a little bit of a look. This group nicely rolled back together again. That's what we want to see. So, sit with the bear, boys and girls. Mob the man with the yellow beacon. Mr. Gilmore, who's only 15. Remember, mate, keep it smooth. Don't waste energy going early. It's all about being smart here. All about riding smoothly on this 5%. Nearly up at the top of the second climb. There's a few people just starting to push on here. I think they're looking for the time. Please remember, guys, if you want to try and keep this back together again, this is a big group here. Kieran Smith in here. Good to see Kieran riding well. Kieran, a man who has regularly won the chain gang, if there is such a thing as winning something that isn't technically a race. Now, Mr. Gill sat in there. Let's have a look. Sam Elsmore's in here. Becca's in here. Alan's in here. Let's have a little look. Just try and jump across to Dan Evans. Looks like Becca. Let's have a quick check how Becca's getting on. Now, Becca is in here. Becca rides bikes on Instagram. Lots of great stories about suffering on the bike, as well as having great days out. Really nice, inspirational Instagram feed to follow. Great to follow people's stories as they get more and more riding in. And Becca improving, another regular on the chain gang. Good to see you riding smoothly, and again riding just behind that yellow beacon. So just keeping an eye on Mr. Thwaites, who is clearly riding pretty smooth. Let's jump in with Kieran Smith. Kieran in here, just alongside Scott Thwaites, so clearly knows which wheels to be sat around. George Cooper in here as well. Dowtry's in here. Coyle's in here. Old school TT turn coming up. If you've never done one of these, I think the scariest one I ever did was at the top of Blue Bank outside of Whitby. We came in, did a full U-E on the way round, and the full go has gone just over as we get to the top. That is absolutely going to be grim. If you're not on that front group now, you are going to be on with a massive push. Go has gone, and it has gone. The pressure is on. any of our big riders who weren't on that climb are going to have to push on the way down to get back into this group. The smaller riders are going to have a hard time here because this is all about making sure you're in that group. And the smaller riders on the descent are going to have to push some big watts to keep this clear. Just keeping an eye on Kieran Smith. He's in this group. Jimmy Allen is in here. The gaps are just opening though. Let's take a little bit of a look up here. Going to get the drone up in the sky. Just going to come back here from more. And you can just see the gaps are starting to open up. The speed is up at 102 kph with more here. You can see how fast they're coming down here. It is absolutely manic at the moment. 102 kph. It is absolutely flat. Judge Ratcliffe, 105. Has anybody got higher than 105? Let us know. Remember, it is very quick. It is absolutely mental. It's a big old badge which you get over the ton. And this is the time to do it in a group on the downhill. Absolutely hammering it on the way down here. Into this turn they come. Around they go. Absolutely no slowing down, unlike in real life. As they come through here, in with Bishop at the moment. Gilmore's pushing hard to stay with this group. It's flat out at the moment. He's going to level off. And let's see how many are left in this leading group. It is scattered across the road now. Big regroup time coming up. If the guys behind have got the pace, if they've got the speed, there are a lot of riders going to be chasing this leading group as they come through at the moment. And is that Mr. Mason on the front? It was Mr. Mason on the front, the man who does carry a reasonable amount of weight. Sitting on the front on the way down there, oddly enough, but sat in with the group now. Darrell is in here, Gilmore in here, Pritchard, Learmouth, Kirkham, OZK's in here, Radcliffe in this group. And just keeping an eye on Mason, pushing on here. This is when he's got a chance to really put some of the skinny lads under pressure. He's really starting to wind this up now, and this is what the bigger riders are going to have to do. They're going to have to put the climbers into the red now whilst they're on the flat section, and if they push the climbers hard enough, they're going to spit them out of the back. If you are not the lightest climber in the bunch, now is the time. You've got to put the pressure on. You've got to be hammering, guys, because this is where it's going to count. If you are not the best climber in this bunch, you have got to get them shelled. Quick. Get it done, boys and girls, because if you leave it to the climb, those climbers will come past you. You've got to put them in the red and really make their legs hurt so they don't have any enthusiasm for that final climb. Remember, the flat sections, the rolly sections, are going to be 10k basically from when you came off the climb to when you go back onto the climb. 10k, 6 miles to do the damage, to really make the legs suffer, to take advantage of the size. And this is where we're going to see if riders can work together to start splitting this group up. At the moment, the pressure is well and truly on. Just keeping a little bit of a look at some of these heart rates on the way through from those who've got heart rate straps on here. Now, the fastest time to the top of the climb, we followed him on the way up. It was Ben Swift who has the fastest time up there, going from the back to the front. 18 minutes 15 for his run up the climb. 18 minutes 15 up the climb. Now, just seen Finley Priest in here, the youngster for the Cerro Cycle Division team in the group here. Looks like Warner is in here as well. Scott Thwaites has made the chasing group, but he's not made the main group here. So let's just jump in with Thwaites here. Now, I think he's got Dawson for company here. They could have a good group to pull across here, but it looks like Thwaites is having to do the work to bring them back on board. 7 seconds to Russ at the moment. 10 to the main group. Sam Ems is in that main group in front. The pressure is on here. Thwaites is going to be pulling this group back if he's not careful here, but if he does that, at least he will be in contention. He's working hard. He's got riders just in front of him. But is he going to be able to get this gap back? This is big work being done here. Let's just jump in with Emsley and look back here. Now, Russ is trailing off the front group. You can see Learmouth here as well. You can see as he look back behind. Russ is dangling in no man's land at the moment. He's 2 seconds back, and it looks like it's only going to be 4 seconds back to the rest of this group. Let's have a little bit of a look. Let's see where they are at the moment. It is very, very tough stuff. They're on a little bit of a bump at the moment. And here comes Russ now, charging through that group. The chasing group are back though. Thwaites is back along with the rest of the group. Here comes Scott Thwaites. So Thwaites has brought that group back. We're just riding in with Steve James at the moment. And this group has come back together again. It's now 2 groups have become 1. There are still 1 or 2 riders chasing hard behind as well. But you can see this is a big bunch, and we're still heading our way back into town, into the main square, into the main piazza before they turn around in the piazza to come back out once again. So this is our leading group, and that front group didn't push on enough to distance people on the way through. Looks like Dowtry in here, just keeping a little bit of a check on all these riders. Looks like Learmouth in this group as well. I suspect Learmouth is going to be the first of our female riders in the group. It is Jess who's in there. And I haven't seen, I don't think, any of the other women into this front group, which puts Jess in the shout, in the hunt for being the first woman back up to the top of the climb. Remember, we've got 1 more climb of the big ascent up to the sanctuary to go. So come on, Jess, time to push on. And now she's got the climb for the women, the fastest time up there in the women's competition. And that put her in the right place at the right time to stay with the leading group. I'm just taking a look back to see where our next women are. I think Becky Stories is about 40 odd seconds back at the moment. This group are working well, and they're on the cobbles, as you can see. It's starting to get dark. It feels like we've been out here for a while. It's a 1 hour at the moment. The question is, who has got the strength to make the way up to the top of the climb? Remember, 18 minutes is the fastest time for the men. That is Ben Swift, 18 minutes 15 seconds. 18 minutes 29 seconds for Jess Learmouth, who has got the women's fastest time at the moment. Is anybody going to break that time on the way up into the finish? There are plenty of people in this group. There's 1 or 2 riders just trying to string it out up on the front at the moment. Looks like Mr. Coleman yet again trying to drag clear. He's gone for it. He's using his aero boost as well here to keep away at the front. And he is going to stretch this group. It's a big group to take in. Coleman is a quick climber, but may not have the legs to take everybody out on the way around. So let's take a little bit of a look. We're just going to jump up in the air. So Coleman it is at the moment. On his way into that turn, he's going to come through and underneath the gantry here. He comes into the U-turn, and as he comes around, he's going to take the turn now. So on to the big sweeping turn he comes. And as he comes around, you can see the chase is on behind. Everybody pushing. It's like Warner, the rider, in trouble at the back of that group. Pillinger leading the chase here. Everybody's trying to push that gap back down again. Radcliffe working hard to get the gap down as well. But at the moment, it is Coleman who's looking good. Now, let's take a little bit of a check through everybody else who's in this group. Radcliffe sat in the pack. Cass is in here, Crawley's in here, Coleman just on his way back down again. This is the group going to see the leaders coming the opposite direction now. As you can see, they're absolutely group after group on its way up towards the line. The leaders, though, have already headed off in the opposite direction. So let's just jump in with our leading group once again. Now, this is the leaders. Ryan Williams in here, Matlock's in here, Coleman's in here, Stacey in here, Crawley's in here, Nick Dorsey, no good being goose, mate. That's no good. Andy Hall's coming in the opposite direction. Tom Knight and Wetlock coming the other way. So on to the cobbles they come. They're just weaving the way between the town at the moment. Looks to me like this group working well. And this is the leading group as we come through the cobbles. Off the cobbles we come. And around the turn, take the left-hand turn first. So this is it. This is the leading group. Currently about 38 riders in that group as they make the way along. Looks like Josh Edmondson's in here as well. Williams in here. Everybody's pushing on. Johnson in here. Nobody wants to let this group go. Scott Thwaite sitting in here after making his way. He's definitely got a reason to sit in the wheels at the moment after coming back across Oxenham here. Ozzy K's in this group. Dowtree in here. And everybody at the moment on the way. Now, if you're heading back down, if you're currently on your way off the main climb, you're going to see the leaders coming in the opposite direction and heading the way back up onto the main climb. Remember, the fastest time up that climb was Ben Swift. The fastest women's time was Jess Learmouth the last time round, an 18:15 and an 18:29 respectively. Now, I think the pace has gone out of this somewhat because you can see our riders sitting in the group, sitting at 3.2 watts per kilo. And they're going to have to keep a little bit of a weather eye out behind us. Just saying that, as we say, the pace has gone off. Another attack goes clear off the front at the moment. So we're going to take a little bit of a look who's gone up the road here. It's going to take a little bit of check-in as these riders work their way up the straight. Easier said than done at the minute to see who's up there, with riders coming in both directions. I don't think it's going to have come to anything. And riders reabsorb back in again. So our leading riders working well at the moment, just in with Edmondson here. He's looking smooth on the way into the climb, just keeping an eye. McNamara now up onto the front of this group. We're going to be hitting those climbs properly very shortly indeed. Remember, it's just over 3k of climbs, so we've got a couple of left turns to do. Not all that much before we're going to be up on there. At the moment, it's a slight downhill, and looks like James Allen has once again gone on to the front to try and string this out. The Saturday starts on rider just keeping it strung out at the moment. So it is going to be James Allen who's just putting it along. Johnson sits second wheel. Looks sort of like plenty of people just trying to pull themselves back into contention. So Evans now rolling round the front. Bish doing the same. Johnson moves up. Hutchinson, Steve James is in there at the moment. This is going to be a real sort out as we come up onto the climb proper. We're going to take the left-hand turn over the rail lines, and once again, very, very shortly, just heading in towards it. You can see the railway line to the left. We're going to do a 90-degree left-hand turn across the rail line, straight on over the river. We're going to see our red beacon, Maddie Smith, coming in the opposite direction. Gives you an idea of just how split we are at this stage. A really brutal course, but definitely seeing who has got the legs. So round the turn they go. Looks like it's going to be Radcliffe who is up on the front now, being passed. It's Bishop making a little bit of a move here, trying to get himself up and keep clear on the front here. Edmondson rolling around, Thornley rolling around once again. James Allen going hard here, and Allen is pushing away again here. Can they control him as they go up on to the climb? It's James Allen off the front at the moment. Everybody wants to be up there. Only one or two riders are going to be together at the top if it's not a solo breakaway. James Allen has gone long. We're about to take the bridge and go over the river. Over the canal. Here we go. Over the canal and over the river we go. It's going to take the right-hand turn here. Allen still with that slight gap on the chasers behind. Now it's Scott Thwaites leading the pursuit behind in the blue. So it's Thwaites trying to close down James Allen. James Allen from the DONNYCHAINGANG for the Stellaton leading this out at the moment. And look at this group. They are all over the road at the moment. They are closing down Allen, but only slowly. False flat at the moment. It's 0% for very little time. Back onto 1-2% now. Coming past the petrol station, heading up towards the first of those turns. Who is going to be the rider to go hard from the front? Who's going to take it clear? I've just seen Radcliffe making a move, but I think we're going to soon see Watson on the way up. Hutchinson at the moment is kicking hard here. He's currently going off hard, but he's got them behind him. He's not yet opened a gap. He's been pushing on at nearly 7.5 watts per kilo. Behind him, it's Foreman, who's put a couple of tentative digs off the front. Who's with him? It's currently a slight descent, a slight drop down, but we're going to hit this hairpin turn here. Round they go, absolutely nailing it. And as they come around, these two riders now with a slight gap. It's only a second or so to the chasing riders behind. And you can see it's going to be Radcliffe who pulls them back. Radcliffe comes onto them. Now it's up all hill, all the way to the top. There is no advantage of sitting in the group. Radcliffe up on to the front now. And you can see Russ is giving it a big kick here. Now it's the Bear who's gone hard here. Are we going to see the Bear taking it out from the front? He's gone on the front. He's pushing out 8 watts per kilo. And is Russ going to be able to hold that all the way up to the top? That is a big ask for the Bear. 13%, 14%. He's still holding 7 watts per kilo comfortably at the moment, or not so comfortably. I would imagine. I don't think anybody holds 7 watts per kilo comfortably, let's face it. And at the moment, he is working hard now. Looks to me like Edmondson has put a draft boost with him. So he's got the power up, the draft power up. He's used it to get back across as Russ's legs go. Pop 6.2 to 2.6 watts per kilo. As Scott Thwaites now goes on to the front. This is where everyone has got it answered. This is where the big guns come out to play. If you were playing off the front earlier on, this is how it's done. This is exactly what you need to do. No point being a have-a-go hero off the front on lap 1 when we all just laugh at you when the big boys have come out to play at the end. It is Edmondson now who's gone up on to the front, and it looks like Thwaites there just dropping off the power. And Edmondson continuing this. So former Sky Pro, it is Josh Edmondson. He's got Coleman on his wheel here. Radcliffe leading the chase behind. The gap is there. This is a relatively straightforward section at 7% as we go alongside the medieval walls here, alongside the terrace. It looks to me like these guys are going to be working their way up here with a decent sized gap. Now it's at 5 seconds to Radcliffe, 6 to Foreman, it's 6 seconds to McNamara. Watson, who we've seen take this out with the last few rides, currently sitting at 6 seconds. Plenty of legs going, I think, on the way through. Just keeping a little bit of a look down here. Ryan Williams is down here. Scott Thwaites at 18 seconds now, taking it steady. Puts in the dig, goes clear. Breaks it all up, but what he did is he set it up nicely here for Josh Edmondson. I know the two riders have ridden together plenty of times on the Chain Gang, out on the run, on the Calf Pav run, that is for sure. Thwaites and Edmondson to together on the road regularly, but it's Coleman at the moment and Edmondson who are on the way up here. Edmondson, Coleman, now Watson starting to close the gap. He's at 1 second at the moment. He's brought that gap down on the steeper section here, and it's Watson who's coming up. They've got to watch out for this man. He has been absolutely on fire. He was flying when we went to the States. He's flown in London, but at the moment Edmondson is riding well. He's starting to stretch this out at the minute, and you can see it's going to be Watson who's going to be taking this up. He's just coming alongside Coleman. Gilmore's in there as well. Now we know young Gilmore is going to have a great power to weight ratio. One of the younger riders, only 15, and that is now going to be to his advantage. A regular rider though, as he makes his way up on to the climb here. They're trying to chase down Edmondson. They are pulling him back slowly, but it really is stretched out now. On the map at the top, you can just start to see the climb opening out, and on the zoomed out version, you can see the very top of this climb. It is in sight. Now, looks like one or two people trying to get stuck in there and getting nowhere fast. This is the last run into the finish. The kilometers are ticking along here. Now, this is the first time we've been out on the gang onto this climb, and we always was going to be very experimental. We don't know that anybody has been out on here as a group ride, but now we know. Now here goes Gilmore. Gilmore pushing on here. The youngster is kicking here, and Edmondson's got to respond to Gilmore, who's gone hard here. The youngster going hard on this section of the climb here. They're going underneath the walls, out through the gateway they go, and it's Gilmore leading this out at the moment. We're going to try and jump in front of Gilmore. Behind, three riders chasing Edmondson at the moment, having to give best to Gilmore. Watson and Radcliffe trying to pull that gap back as well. McNamara's not too far behind. Then it's Williams, then Foreman, Dowtree coming through. It is a really close. Let's have a little look. Sorry, Coleman and Foreman further back. So it's Gilmore in 1, Edmondson in 2, Radcliffe in 3, Watson in 4, McNamara in 5, Williams in 6, Coleman in 7, Dowtree in 8, Foreman in 9, Kirkham in 10, Muir in 11, Dwyer in 12th, Thwaites in 13th, and Stacey currently in 14th place at the moment. Now Watson's putting a big move in here. Watson's got some serious power. He's gone hard, and this is where Gilmore's got to dig deep if he's got anything left. He's gone hard now. Radcliffe's responding. Radcliffe is going, and he's kicking on once again up towards the top here. And as you can see, it is a really tough climb up here, and it looks like Radcliffe has got the beating of Watson as they go up towards the gantry here. So apologies, the distances are out. We've worked with the distances we can to get them as exact as possible. But the first rider who's going to come in through the gantry, it is going to be a Radcliffe who's going to get this. So Radcliffe goes through at 42.2k. Then it's going to be Watson. He's going to be the next man up there. 14:13, the climb time for Watson. An absolutely phenomenal time. Now let's have a look. It's going to be Gilmore coming through, chasing them home. So Radcliffe, then Watson, then Gilmore in 3rd. It's going to be Edmondson in 4th, Ryan Williams in 5th. As they go in and through around the top of the climb. They're going to be heading back down very shortly here. Now what we've got to try and do is jump back into the group as they come back past. Now McNamara comes through. He's going to be about 7th place at the moment. So the distance that was 41 now being passed on the way round. We're just going to have to try and jump back in with the group, which is going to be very tricky to do. So our riders in and through now with 8 riders in and through the top here. We're going to try and jump in with the group. It's easier said than done, it has to be said. So Watson now descending. We're just going to jump in with Russ, who's now up and over the top. Everybody pushing in to get up over the top of the climb as soon as possible. Pillinger's in, Oxenham's in, Burke is in and through. We're going to try and jump through to the rest of the riders. So Matlock now up the climb. We're going to drop in. Hopefully Cass making his way up onto the climb. Apologies for missing a few of you out. That's what happens when the distance is out. So Coyle comes through. Now it's going to be Johnson kicking on in. He's got Coyle come through just in front, right behind Kieran Smith. Some real good PBs coming through. It's going to be Alan is the next rider up the climb. Then it's going to be Joel Davis. Davis doing a great job up here. Then it's going to be Ozike coming through, followed by Ruddyman and Kettering. Is Kettering going to go past him? Kettering is here, the youngster just in front of Ruddyman. So Phil Ozike goes through. Then it's Kettering and coming up to the top of the climb. Is he going to get himself a PB? Well, Kettering gets a PB up there as well. Ruddyman goes through. Is he going to get a PB on his way through? He does as well. Next up is Bishop. Then it's going to be Thornley, Archibald. Lots of these riders are well on the way up this climb. It looks like, just keeping an eye on here. Steve James on his way up towards the top here. Looks like Dan Evans has gone through. Mel Blackford working hard to try and close them down just in front. And I think Dan Evans is on his way to that line. Here he comes. So it's going to be Evans on his way in towards the line. He's going to be followed through the line by Mel Blackford, I think. So it's going to be Mel who's our next rider. And then it's going to be Steve James. So Steve making his way up. We're going to keep an eye. He's going to come in front of Dawson, I think. So it's going to be Dawson who is chasing hard here. So Kev Dawson as Andy Singleton comes over the top. So Singleton clearly on form here. And Andy Singleton's going to come through riding the Tron bike as he said he would. He's going to come in and over the top of the climb here. So well done to Andy. He's going to be ahead, just ahead of Green. Green working hard to keep that gap closed down. Now we've missed Lema through. She was the first woman up to the top of the climb. Becky Story is going to be the second of the women up to the climb here. So Becky comes through, takes the second place, and see if she gets a PR on the way through. Hopefully going to set a PR. Yep, 17:30. So on the way up to the line, it's going to be Kev coming through now. We're going to just drop back. Warner comes up, who's in that group. He's going to be ahead, I think, of Dawson. Here comes Dawson. He's our next rider. Ollie Dawson making his way towards the line. He's in front of Stu Coates and Craig Sellen, who are together behind him. So Stu Coates is going to just take this from Craig Sellen. Oh, and Craig pushes for the line, not quite making it. Then it is Proven, followed by Ward. And then it's going to be Evans, Stables behind. Next up will be Clippo. Then it's going to be Glenn Thornley. So Clippo here making his way up towards the line. It's 6 seconds behind him will come Thornley. So Clippo comes through. Then it's Thornley. Thornley of Chef Wreck making his way in now. Jimmy Allen was in the leading group. Jimmy Allen is 3 seconds behind here. So Jimmy comes up towards the line, and it's going to be Jimmy Allen. He goes through the high line ahead of Raccoon. Then it's going to be Charlie Babbitt coming through the line next. So let's drop in with Charlie as he comes up to the finish. Good riding by Charlie, keeping clear of Altaf. Altaf really pedaling his way up there well. Takes the pressure off as he goes over the line. Then it's Woodall, followed by Greenwood. Then it's going to be Emsley. Ellis now coming into the line just ahead of Dowtree and Shenfield. Then it's going to be Woodhams. Then Morn, followed by Manakee. And Davenport on his way up towards the line. Come on, Matt, keep it going. You've only got a few more meters to go. Then it's going to be Mr. Davenport. He's our next rider on his way in up here at the sanctuary at the top of the climb. Following him is going to be Finney. So Finney making his way up and through the line. Then Davenport, followed by Goddard. Craig Herring working hard on this final section of the climb. 3.4 watts per kilo at the moment. Then it's going to be Reedy behind him. So Reedy trying to close the gap down. And then it's going to be a little bit of a gap back to Rich Orrell. Not much. Here's Rich coming up now. So Rich Orrell, he's got Tristan from Harrogate right behind him. Then it's going to be Barry Kipling. So Rich Orrell, is Rich going to get another PB up here? First time on this course. It is going to be Rich through. Then it's Tristan coming through, followed by Lindley. Again, more PRs as they come in towards the line. Lindley's hoping to get one, as is Leach and Kipling. Leach is kicking hard here, so Leach could get it. Oh, he just missed out. Lindley, then Leach, and then it's going to be Kipling coming through with Stordy, Richardson and Skelton come through. Then it's going to be Forrester, then it's going to be Wayne. So Wayne's going to be our next rider into the line here. He's got Edmonds behind him, and then Dickinson coming through. Very, very close. Dickinson pushing all the way to the line here, followed by Hutchinson. Hutchinson clearly feeling that extra distance. Apologies, folks. As we said at the start, one of the first times we've been up here, no one knew what the distances were. We got them out as accurately as we could. Mr. Lovett clearly pushing on there. And then it's going to be Gale, followed by Beagley. Beagley on his way into the line. Is Riley going to let him have this? I think he's pushing for the line. Oh, he just about goes over the line together. Then it's Hawkins behind. In Taylor from 1080. Next rider coming in. So Taylor pushing onto the line. Looking good. He's just ahead of Ted, who comes up through the line. And PBs for Ted as well. Flanders Fraser comes through. Can Fraser get these PBs, keeping them rolling in? And I think he's just missed out on it now. Brooks is our next rider on his way into the line. So it's Brooks, then Brown, then it's going to be Stanley Parry and Killingsworth. So Brooks goes through, then it's going to be Brown. Brown's our next rider here, coming up to the finish. He goes underneath the arch, then it's going to be Killingsworth, followed by Crehan and Kaplinski on the way up. Not far to go, boys. Keep it going all the way over the line. You might as well get that gantry. I think Carl's not going to give up until he hits that line. That is for sure. So Carl, the artist responsible for the bear on the t-shirts, making his way to the line and is definitely looking good on his way through. Good to see Carl back on the bike, of course taken out of action in an accident as well. Now making his way, he's got McDermott and Andy Hawes behind him by the look of it. So good at riding by Carl on his way through. Don't forget to go Google Carl Kaplinski, artist, and you'll see Carl's work. Very, very good artist indeed. Now he's going through just in front of McDermott. That's our next rider on this section of the climb here. So McDermott's going to be our next rider. In behind is Andy Hawes. Hawes just ticking it in to the top of the climb. So Horsey pushing on towards the climb here. He's our next rider up to the line. So well done to Andy. We're going to drop a little bit further down to Mr. Dunn. So done on the way in. We're just going to drop in to the right. It's going to work back to front at the moment, so apologies if you get missed on the way through, just simply because it ensures we can get through everyone. So this is our Red Beacon group. Maddie Smith, Rob Carlin, looks like Mr. Morris is in here as well, and Taylor's in here. It's going to be Martin Bob about 45 seconds up the road. Then it's going to be Adam just in front on that right hand hairpin. Then it's going to be Wilkinson. It's going to be the beard on the bike. Then it's going to be Bones, followed in Vader. Then Vader, as you can see, chasing Mark Smith. Then Smith in front. This is going to be the other Smith, of course, and that is going to be Darren. Chasing Hemstock Street. Then Drummond, Ferron, It's going to be Haywood, Sonia Inslee, Williams, Tupper, Donahue, Alan Parsons, Langmead. It's going to be James. Looks like Sir Rodney well on the climb. Rashid well on his way up here through the bridge. Going to keep a check. It looks like Victoria Chavaria well on the way up the climb. Schwabe just in front as well. I think Schwabe will be the next rider up to the line. Just keeping an eye on the riders heading in at the moment. So Anthony Schwabe will be our next rider in to the line. Schwabe looking good on his way up the climb. Currently sitting at 1 hour 27 on his way up the climb. Behind 11 seconds behind comes Victoria Chavaria. Chavaria could close this gap down. We'll see. So Chavaria just working away up the climb here at 41.6k. Then it's going to be Garfoot. So Garfoot behind Victoria Chavaria. And then Catley behind. So Catley looking good. And it's got company in the shape of Coleman. Coleman alongside here in the yellow and black. Now they've got a little bit of a gap. It's 7 seconds back to Rashid and Brown. So just taking a little bit of a look. There we go. That's what 7 seconds looks like on this 11% slope. So it's Coleman, then Catley, then Rashid and Brown. So this is in with Rashid at the moment. We're just taking a little bit of a look back to Brown. Brown working his way up here. Brown looking good as he pushes on those pedals. You can see riders in front of him. He's going to try and close that gap down. Behind then it is Sir Rodney and Whitlock, who are together. They're going to be here pushing on up towards the climb. Behind them, Langmead is just in front, I think, of a few riders here. Yeah. So Langmead is just in front here of James. So Langmead in the blue, then James in the grey. In the black is Caldwell, and in the green will be Alan Parsons there, Mr. Ridley. So these riders are working hard to push on. Then it's going to be Vin Donahue. Donahue on his way up here out of the saddle. Man who's been Red Beacon before. Good to see Vin back on the bike in the green. Behind him is Tupper. Tupper can see Donahue in front. And then Williams just making his way around that right-hand turn. Behind him, Sonia Inslee leading this next group at the moment. And this is going to be Haywood on the wheels at the moment. Behind then, it's about 6 seconds back, I think, to Sean Ferron. So Inslee at the moment. Haywood then on the wheels, as you can see. Ferron behind. Ferron out of the saddle here, kicking on. Then it's Drummond in the orange, white and black. Then it's going to be Street, Smith, Sanderson, Wilkinson, aka Darth Vader. And then I think Mark Swift. It's going to be a bit on a bike, being followed by Wilkinson, Adam, Bolt. And then it's going to be the group that was together. Now Carling pushing on here. So it's Carling, then Taylor, then Smith, and Morris. Smith are Beacon here, giving Morris just a bit of an assist on this climb. So just coming around that hairpin and on to the climb. Taylor in front. Jump up a little bit. Let's jump back up with Donahue. Parsons up the road still. So Parsons right up, but not far for him to go to. You see Gantry. You just see the barriers coming in. He's going to be our next rider in and across the line. Will be Parsons. He comes alongside the Gantry here. So in with Maddie Smith, the drone dropping back at speed there. And Maddie Smith here with Morris. Let's jump in with Morris here. Morris just a little bit of a kick out of the saddle there. Let's just jump in with Dan Smith here, chasing Street and Drummond just in front. Inslee up the road with Hayward and Williams. So Williams here, Donnohue's 15 seconds up the road. So it's Donnohue, then Williams. So it's going to be Donnohue chasing hard here. Then behind is Williams. So Williams currently kicking at 3.5 watts per kilo. Looking nice and smooth on the way up. Then it's going to be the Inslee-Hayward duo on the way up here. So they've got Ferron not too far behind. Ferron's pushing hard here. He's going to make this a group of 3 on the way up towards the top. So it's Inslee, Hayward, and it's going to be Ferron who's coming in hard now. Ferron's just going to push on to the back of that group, which he does so. So some good riding here by Ferron, Hayward and Inslee. Behind them then, it is going to be Street. Street's got Smith on his wheel. So Scott Street at the moment has Darren Smith sitting on his wheel here. And Drummond with them as well. Nice group of 3. So it's Street, then Smith. And then it is going to be Drummond, so Darren Smith, and then it is Craig Drummond. Drummond out of the saddle here, 50 revs per minute, and kicking it out. Some good watts on his way up. Bones Sanderson, another rider who keeps improving behind them. Then it's going to be Mark Smith. So Mark riding, Ben finishing just a little bit in front of Mark today. And then it is going to be Vader, which is Wilkinson, and then Beard on the bike, and then the other Wilkinson, and then Adam, Carlin, Bolt, Taylor, Morris, and Smith. So it's going to be Street and Smith and Drummond, our next riders through. Then it's going to be Sanderson, who's nicely coming into that top, so you see from the map, not all that far. Once you start drifting away from the walled section that takes you into the sanctuary, the long terrace that takes you up to the sanctuary at the top of the climb. Sanderson on next rider up there. Then it's going to be Smith on to the barriers. You can just see the buildings starting to appear up in front of him, so not long for Mark Smith. 9 seconds back out from underneath the tunnel comes Wilkinson, aka Darth Vader, as you can see why. So John Wilkinson with the Vader helmet on at the moment. How to get yourself noticed on TV, have a distinct feature, and in John's case, it is the Darth Vader helmet, looking good at the moment, looking pretty smooth, and keeping those revs nice and high. So he's 5 seconds at the moment behind Smith, so Smith should hold that to the top of the climb. And take a look back from Smith, you can just see Vader out the saddle chasing, but very similar watts per kilo. That gap still sitting at 5 seconds, down to 4 at the moment. So Vader working hard here, not too far to go for him to catch that group behind. Then it is going to be a Beard on a bike. It is going to be Aki on his way up here, looking good. So Aki keeping it nice and smooth. That big high heart rate, 179 beats per minute, 81 revs per minute, 215 watts there as he goes up the climb. Behind him then is Wilkinson. So Wilkinson just approaching the little dog leg underneath, and I think the gap behind Aki, as you can see now, big enough. He's pretty secure in that position ahead of Wilkinson. So we're going to take a little bit of a check back behind that Wilkinson. It is going to be Darren Topless. So Topless on his way up here. You'll see Darren out on the bike on that 9% section, about to take that same right hand, left hand turn. He's got Wilkinson about 8 seconds in front. I think he's reasonably safe from Rob Carling, a rider he knows well, who is chasing behind. So Darren on his way up, and riding nice and smooth, 80 revs per minute at the moment. Then it's a Rob Carling here with 85 revs per minute, 175 beats per minute, coming into the right hand turn. And then it is going to be Mamuna Adam. So Mamuna on the climb here, chasing Rob. 25 seconds up, so Big ass to close that gap down. Nice lightweight wheels on that bike on the climb here. And Mamuna Adam currently chasing them. Rob Carling got Martin Bolt behind. So Bolt pedaling smoothly here in pursuit of Adam. Adam now on that right hand turn in front. 11 seconds behind is Morris. Then it's going to be Smith and Taylor. Not Smith and Jones, it's Smith and Taylor. So Alec Taylor in with Maddie Smith here, in with our red beacon. So Alec Taylor, Maddie Smith. Then it's going to be Gary Morris in front, then Martin Bolts, then Mamuna Adam, Rob Carling and Darren Topless. So a real battle between Morris and Taylor from Maddie Smith. Thanks, Maddie. You can be my spotter anytime, kid, believe me. So Wilkinson on the way to the top. Not going to get caught by Topless at this distance to the finish. You just see it's just coming up around the bend. Behind Rob Carling and Mamuna Adam are working hard here. Rob Carling getting those revs up. I do hope you're not doing 170 odd revs per minute there, Rob. That's going to be spinning your little legs off, that is for sure. Mamuna Adam just coming through the dog leg turn now, and then it's going to be Bolt behind Morris and Taylor. Well, they're separated at the moment by about 26. Bolt is going to get caught here by Morris though, so this is very, very close. Morris has timed this right here. Gary Morris has kept something in reserve for the last few K up to the top. So Martin Bolt, long time a red beacon out of the saddle here. Martin looking good, 6 kph because of the 14% climb, getting chased at the moment by Morris behind. And this is Morris we're riding with now, and that Zwift kit closing in on Bolt behind. Then it is Smith and Taylor, currently 23 seconds behind. So Rob Carling's going to be our next rider heading in towards the line. So Rob not far off that finish. Then it's going to be Mamuna Adam. Can see the buildings and the sanctuary just coming out of the trees, coming up out of the trees there, and you come past the sanctuary, take the left hand turn and around the U-bed at the top, and then it's going to be Martin Bolt and Morris still working hard here, trying to close that down. Now at 3 seconds, absolutely nailing it on the run in here. 100 revs per minute, so starting to kick really hard. You just see Bolt coming around the corner. Where's Morris? Into sight comes Morris. The camera cuts away just at the wrong time. Get in there quick. So here we go. We're riding with Morris at the moment. That's Bolt in front. This is going to be close between them. So Mamuna Adams is going to be our next rider in. And just see the edge of the sanctuary appearing out of the trees. And Bolt has company because not too far behind comes Morris now. Can Bolt respond to this? Needs to keep that gap clear. So I think Bolt is pushing on here. And come on, Martin, all the way to the top, mate. Ignore the distances. I can't do maths. So next up is going to be Morris chasing Bolt here. And Morris needs to keep pushing up to the top of the climb. Behind then will be Taylor and Smith. So Morris getting to come on, give it some beans from Maddie. That gap's still at 5 seconds. I think that's a big ask to close that gap back down again. Morris keeps on kicking out, a big kick after kick. If you look at the top right hand corner of the screen, that's where the map is. Still plenty of distance to pull that gap down. 2 seconds is the gap now. This is going to be close between these two. Here we go. There's the catch going to be made. The catch is made and he goes on to Bolt's World. Question is, can he hold it? He's just taking the pressure off, having caught him. Got to keep going. You've got a little way to go up to the front. And can Bolt respond to this? Who had anything left in reserve? Because if we take a look up at the eye in the sky on the helicopter, you can see just coming up towards the sanctuary comes Morris and Bolt at the moment. It's going to be close between them. Behind them then is going to be Taylor. So Taylor and Smith are onto the section, taking that right hand turn. They can just see a Bolt and Morrison. Bolt is responding here. We're going to stick with these two, then try and jump back to Taylor. So this is a real battle between Bolt and Morris here, and I think Bolt's decided to give it all because he's got to the top of the climb. I don't think Martin wants to do too much more. So well done, guys. Fantastic stuff. We're going to just drop back across to Maddie. So Maddie Smith, our red beacon, with Alec Taylor on the final section of the climb here. So as Taylor approaches the line here, great riding by Taylor to come in to the finish with Maddie Smith. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody. Apologies for the distance, like we said at the start. Always going to be an experiment. We come here for the first time with a big group, doing so many laps on here. We know the next time we're going to push it even further or cut it down by a lap, but good distance, some great riding as Maddie Smith and Taylor come in and through. You're going to finish off watching the beacon, watching Maddie make her way up, and I'm sure Maddie will not hesitate to go all the way through the line, please, Maddie. So big thank you to Maddie Smith. Massive thank you to everybody who rode. I hope you've enjoyed the course. Let us know on the Facebook page what you think. Should we come back? Should we never be here ever again? Really interested to see what your thoughts are on there. Don't forget, on Thursday we're heading out to Crit City for Bell Lap, the complete opposite of this. 3 climbs here. We're going to do 20 laps of Bell Lap. It's a really fast course. It's brutal. It's quick. I've crit raced on there. It's really, really fun to ride. You can even drop out and jump back into the group if you get your timing just right. Tricky to do, but not impossible. So a massive thank you to all of you who have donated. Don't forget, if you do want to donate, you can either go onto the PayPal button and hit that on the website, or of course you can go on to the Facebook page and get in touch with me. Just message Matt Payne, and of course Russ and I will make sure that we use your money wisely and make sure that we can keep on bringing you the Chain Gang. So Maddie comes round the top. Only leaves me to say thank you to everybody who's looked after our riders on the way in to December. Remember, we're going to move on from here in Italy to Crit City on Thursday. And from Russ, the Bear Downey, and from myself, Matt Payne, have a great evening. We'll see you on Thursday.